Thank you, Soraya, and thank you, Etienne. Especially, I would like to thank you for the text that you asked us to read, that you sent us, because I must say that reading this text of you, Etienne, has allowed me, first of all, to find some answers to questions I was looking for since a long time in my own work. But I would also say that I found in this text a grid to read your books, to read your work. So it's like a supplementary, it adds a supplementary level in the interpretation of your work. I think that for me the most important element in your work, and then specifically in this text, is what I would call the trans-individual subject as differential relation. And I must say that in this text, and especially, it's of course all the movement, but especially the third part on ontological relations, I feel that the philosophical reflection there is extremely important because we lack the concepts that allow us to read the political reality. And so you give us exactly the concepts that we need in the conjunction today. I have 3 questions. The first question concerns the theme of difference. I went back, you quote Deleuze in your text, The Thousand Plateau. So I went back to Deleuze and to Catherine Manabou reading of Deleuze in her text, Who's Afraid of the Alien Wolves? In this text, so I will start with a sentence from your own article, from your own text. You ask, which notion of difference do we need to understand your reflection on those levels? And you say that not all notions of difference can do the work, can do the job. Rather, I quote you, keeping in mind the idea of a negation of equal liberty that operates from inside or affects the universality of the principle itself, we must focus on differences that are universal themselves. And this point seems very important for me, because quoting Malabou on Deleuze, she says, if Deleuze manages to reduce Hegelian philosophy to a unity, the solution would no doubt lie in problematizing this unity itself, in exposing its differentiated structure in other terms. It seems to me, and this is the question, that what you are doing is not starting, and excuse the simplification, it's not starting from difference to relate it to the universal, but rather following this Deleuzian movement, starting from the universal to show its differentiated structure. So is this the way you are going, and is this the way we should go following you? This is one question. The second question concerns the subject, this trans-individual subject as a differential relation. And again, I go back to Deleuze, but it's just to understand better what you mean. For Deleuze, he defines his subject as intensity and as differential forces. Now, my question, it seems to me that you, at the difference of Deleuze, you keep this idea of the subject as trans-individual. He talks about the proper name on the one hand and the multiplicity on the other, and he goes in this idea of the intensity. It seems to me that you share Deleuze's understanding of the subject, but you also go beyond keeping the subject. How do we think that? Then I have another question concerning how you think relation. I must say that your understanding of differential relation, or what I could call heterogeneous relationality, it's genius, absolutely. But again, to understand it better, I would quote Blanchot and the Entretien, and then ask you a question. So, quoting Blanchot, he writes, speaking inaugurates an original relation in which the terms involved do not have to atone for this relation, or these above themselves, in favor of a measure supposed to be common. They rather ask and are accorded reception precisely by reason of that which they do not have in common. And you in your text, you say that we need to think about a relation that involves its own negation or limitation, and you quote Blanchot. Now my question is, you spoke also before about strangeness, and the common, which is the Blanchot way to think these two terms, or is it something else? Because Blanchot seems rather to me that it goes into a direction that is a little bit mystical somehow, and it is doesn't, or maybe not, but my question would be, can you tell us a bit more? How do we think this relation without relation? This strangeness, which is the common, without, Blanchot says, interruption escaping all measure. How do we think that? Then I have two other comments more. One comment is that I think that it's very important that in your text you put together the political level, the anthropological level, and the philosophical one, because this is a very difficult work to be done for philosophy and political philosophy, and I think it's very important because it goes against many of the tendencies today of both philosophy and political philosophy, which make abstraction from the political. So somehow I think this is really crucial also for future work in philosophy, starting from this level with politics and anthropology. And the other comment I have, also hearing you this morning, it seems to me that the theme of revolution and the connection to time is also central. It's this question of becoming, but somehow it seems to me that time in its insurrectional form, so that's why I speak about revolution, it's really at the core of this ontological, this relational ontology.